Hello, YouTubers. It's Barbie J here. Welcome to my channel, June BLC. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of The Equalizer, Season 5, Episode 16, Sins of the Father. And here we have yet another great episode of The Equalizer, minus Delilah, Aunt Vi, and Detective Marcus Dante. None of them were in it this episode. Wasn't that wonderful? But yet it was still a great episode. And that's what I'm saying about this show. You know what I mean? But anyway, let me tell you a little bit more about what's going on. We're about 2 episodes away from the season finale of The Equalizer. And this week's episode sets up for that spin-off series that was mentioned earlier this season. Thank you, Sir James, for sending me all of this information. I appreciate you. And what's interesting is the way that they treat this show. Sometimes it's on, sometimes it's not. 8 o'clock slot, 9 o'clock slot. Now this the 10 o'clock slot. It's like they're doing everything to get rid of it, if you ask me. Now, we haven't heard anything yet on a possible 6th season. But hopefully, if this spinoff does happen, then there'll be an opportunity for a crossover between the two shows. And it'll help build up its audience. I don't know. But since nothing has been made official about this 6th season by CBS, we need to let them know through social media that we want a season 6. So they're asking us to use the hashtags, hashtag the equalizer and hashtag save the equalizer. Hashtag save. I just say use hashtag save the equalizer because I already used the other one. And we want them to know that there are people out there who are enjoying the show. Stop messing with it. And these new 2 cast members that they're going to be in this season, this episode today that I'm reviewing, if they're going to be the spinoff, this is going to be very interesting because I have a feeling they're going to use that to get rid of Queen Latifah, and I hope not. We can't have that, y'all. We can't have that. We need her and Dante and their love relationship. We need Aunt Vi and Delilah. We need Harry, and we need Mel. So hashtag save the equalizer. So now before we get started, if you're new here or if you're returning and have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now and hit that subscribe button. Then hit the notification bell and select all. It'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you smash that like button, which is the thumbs up button. Write a comment and join the conversation and share the video because sharing is caring, y'all. And you want to help this sister's channel grow. So anyway, this week's episode is going to introduce Samantha Reed and Eli Reed, I believe they are. Samantha's played by Juwani Felice, and Elijah is played by Titus Wellever. And y'all know this is crazy to me because it seems like they're trying to get rid of the Equalizer, so why are they doing a spinoff? I have no idea. Anyway, Samantha reaches out to Robin, and because her father, who's ex-CIA, is missing, okay? And she reaches out to him by calling on this special sat phone or something like that. And the only person who had access to that phone was Bishop, and we all know Bishop died. But during the episode, Samantha ends up joining forces with the team, minus Dante that is, to track down the agency legend, which is her father, Elijah Reed. And she ends up learning more about her family's past in the Dominican Republic. So it's an interesting episode. So let's jump right in with how it began with some old man walking down the street, and he goes into a warehouse and 3 men follow him, and he ends up unarming all 3 of them in some kind of way, and then he gets shot in the back by something, a tranquilizer or something like that, and there's a man in his face, and he's telling the man to kill him, but the man said, not until you tell me what I want to know, or something like that. And then we see Robin talking to Aunt Vi. She done took Delilah with her to some artistic retreat, and Robin's telling her that's a good idea to help her get off all this college stuff off her mind. But they didn't tell us where Dante was. Did anybody hear anything about Dante? We didn't even hear her mentioning his name, like calling her boo and saying, good morning, baby, I'm going to be busy today. I ain't seen none of that. I didn't hear any of that. Did Harry or Mel or anybody mention him? Because I missed it if they did. Anyhow, while she's talking to Aunt Vi, her sat phone rings. And she's like, what is activated? And she hangs up and tells Aunt Vi she got to talk to her later. And she answers it and somebody gives her a code. And she's like, who is this? Who is this? And they don't tell her and they hang up. So she reaches out to Harry and Mel and his coordinates to a park somewhere. I'm thinking Brooklyn or something like that. And so Robin heads that way to see what's going on. So, she got on her earbud and she's talking to Harry and they looking around, surveilling the area, trying to see who this is that reached out to her. And finally some girl came out of the crowd of women and it was her and Robin put a gun to her back and told her to start talking. She wanted to know who she was. And the girl started fighting with her and everything. And Robin finally got her under control and asked who she was. She told she was Samantha Reed. And she said, where did you get this number? She said, my father gave it to me from somebody called Bishop. She said, well, if you got it from Bishop, then you should have a passcode or something, password. And she said, it's Delilah. And she's like, okay, so who's your father? And she said, Elijah Reed. She said, Elijah Reed's your father? Yo, he's a legend. And Samantha lets Robin know that he's her adopted father. And so she's telling how they was on their run all their life from the CIA because my father knew this and knew that. He found me in the rubble, da 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 da. She gave her the breakdown. Then Samantha mentions to Robin how they had settled down for a few years in Atlanta and how much she loved it and she thought they would be there for a while. And for some reason, I'm thinking if this spinoff happens, this is where it's going to be located in. It's not going to be New York. It's going to be ATL, baby. So anyway, while they're talking, Harry calls and he lets them know that the police got a call yesterday about an elderly man being chased into a warehouse in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, I'm guessing. So they go there to that warehouse, and that's where Samantha sees this symbol, which is for defense. And it's a symbol, he said, that if she ever saw it, that means he's possibly in trouble or dead, and she needs to run far away. And so they did a flashback to show when her father first taught her what that symbol looked like, a Y with a line up the middle of it. And she was like, I'm never going to leave you and stuff. He's like, Sam, I'm telling you, you're going to have to go or something like that. Promise me. But they did a lot of flashbacks just to let you know. And it's just to her childhood so we could see her growing up with her adopted father and learning these different things from him, how to fight and everything else. So now Robin brings Sam to the bar or the Bat Cave, whatever, to meet Mel and Harry. And they're like, sorry about your father. We're going to find him, blah, blah. She's like, you don't even know me. She said, you walked through that door with Rob, and that's enough for us. And I was like, okay. And the girl was like, okay. So Harry called Robin downstairs to tell her some stuff, and Sam stayed upstairs with Mel, who let her know that they're going to find her father because that's what they do. So now they get another lead, and Robin and Sam go to this pizza parlor where this person is. And when they get there, there's police activity. The guy is shot dead. So they go inside, and this one police officer come over there talking about, what are y'all doing? This is an active crime scene. And Sam went into this whole skit. I was like, uh-oh. She was like, oh, and we thought that police tape out there was for Christmas decorations. And Robin's like, do we have a problem here, Detective Rush, with this officer? And Sam is like, yeah, I think Officer Rosano here has an issue with us because we're women. Or is it because we're women of color? And he's like, no, no, it's not like that. And he's like, go ahead, go help yourself. So they went looking around. But I thought that was cute how she jumped right in and knew how to fake the funk. You know what I mean? And Robin was like, I'm going to have to keep an eye on you because that was good. And they went looking around and she found, Sam found a drive or something in some kind of little light switch. And then she went out back. She heard a noise and somebody tried to put a hood over her head and grab her. And she got into a fight with that guy and he ran away and she chased him and he jumped in the car. And then Robin came with their car and told Sam to jump in and they gave chase. They gave chase after this man. And honey, they went down the street and I was sitting there going, I know that area. That's over by Broadway. And they came down and went over around 12th Avenue. It was like it's almost like a dead end street. It was 12th Avenue where back before COVID, there were like 3 clubs down there, maybe even 4 in that area. So they gave chase and she shot his tire. Remember the car flipped over and everything else? That was right in that area. I knew it well. And one of the walls, if you look, you see it says Harlem. painted on the wall because holla, that's where your girl be hanging in Harlem. That's right. So anyway, Sam ends up shooting him and killing him. And Robin goes in his pockets, finds a picture, and it's a picture of Sam and her father from a video that went viral when they stopped a robbery in some type of fast food restaurant. So anyway, that's why they had to leave Atlanta. And Sam is like, what do these people want with us? Because now she knows that it's not the CIA chasing them and they don't know what's going on. But then she remembers and tells Robin about the flash drive that she found. So they go back to the Batcave to bring that flash drive to Harry to see what information he could get off of it. And Sam is loving the command center. She's like, wow, like it's wonderful. And so she sees all the stuff that her father did up on the screen, and they're telling her to look at it. Is there anything that jumps out at her and stuff like that? And they find out what's happening in Dominican Republic 25 years ago because now she's 27 and he found her when she was 2. And that's when they learned about this guy who was in charge, Alphonse Cardozo. And so Sam is looking at his picture up on the screen and she starts rubbing the necklace that's around her neck. And her father, Elijah, is the one who said that when he found her in the rubble that she had that necklace on. So Sam had a lot of questions and Robin said, those are questions we're going to ask your father when we find him. So now they get another lead and they end up at this warehouse where they end up finding Elijah. And he's like, Sam, what are you doing here? And she's like, thank God you're alive. He said, didn't you see the signal? She said, yeah, but I wasn't going to leave you here. And he said, you promised. Now you played right into his hands. She said, whose hands? Cardozo's? He said, yes, he doesn't care about me. You're the one he wants. And she's like, why? Why has he been chasing me all these years? And that's when she learns that Cardozo is her biological father. And she just looks at Elijah with a stunned facial expression. So all of a sudden, Cardozo's men come back. There's gunfire. Pow, 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 pow. They're trapped in there. Elijah takes a chair, breaks this freaking window, and he's talking about jumping. And Mel is like, we're 4 stories up. He said, there's a garbage heap down there. Hopefully it'll break our fall. Now, there could have been metal or wood or anything in them garbage bags. And they all jumped out the window. We're not even looking really. And they all seem to land safely. But it was crazy because anything could have been in those bags sticking out and they falling on them. You know what I mean? Y'all put it down in the comment section if it sounds like I'm making something crazy up. Because I've gotten cut by stuff in my garbage bags while I'm taking the trash out. So come on. Anyway, they get to a safe place of Robin's and Mel goes to get some heavy artillery. And Sam tells her father, I want to know everything right now. You've been lying to me all my life and I want to know the truth. And so Robin pulls out a chair and tells him to sit down, and he starts telling the story about her mother and about Cardozo and everything. So Samantha is mad at him now because he hid all of this from her, her mother's name and everything. He said, this is what your mother wanted. Your mother made me promise not to tell you this. Your mother made me promise not to do this. Your mother made me promise to raise you. I mean, he said, I was just keeping her promises. And he told her, my sole purpose in life was to protect you. And she had the nerve to say, it seems like the only protection I ever needed was from you. I'm like, come on. I hate when they make these scripts like this. It's like, this man made sacrifices to raise you and to keep your mother's promises. Give him a little credit for that. Jeez. So Samantha walks away from her father and goes in a room, and Robin goes in there to talk to her, saying, I know a lot about fathers and daughters, and there's nothing more important to that man than you. And she's like, I used to think that. I said, oh my God, adios, mijos. Please, honey, please, don't go there. But Robin told her, there's something you got to understand. Sometimes we have to lie to protect the ones we love. And she added, it's not always appreciated like my family would tell you, but it's necessary. So Elijah walks over there and lets her know that he came to New York to finish off Cardozo, and that's what he's going to do. And she's like, I want to talk to him first. And he's telling her he doesn't think that's a good idea. She said, you don't get to decide that for me, not anymore. You know, all of a sudden she acting like a bratty teenager instead of a 27-year-old young woman. You know, but that man just told you your father killed your mother. Your father killed your mother. But you getting mad at the adopted father who sacrificed his life to raise you to keep you safe from that man. Anywho, they find the location where Cardoza is, and the four of them go in there. Robin, Mel, Sam, and Elijah. And once again, gunfire breaks out, and everybody is shooting pop, 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 pop. I mean, it is going on and on and on. And then after they kill the men outside, they get inside and they split up. And when that happened, Cardoza ended up attacking Elijah, and they got into this big old fight. Elijah ended up on the floor. Cardoza was about to shoot him when Samantha came up and said, "Stop, put your gun down." And he looks at her and he says, "Delphina." I said, "Look at that. Samantha ain't even her name. Her name is Delphina." But she didn't even flinch with that name. And she's telling him to put the gun down. And he's like, "No." And he's telling her to put her gun down. And she said, "You put yours first." And he put his down. Then she put hers down. And Elijah had gotten up and he's like, "Don't do it, Sam. Don't believe him." And Alfonso is lying to her, trying to get her to believe that her mother is still alive, talking about we could still be a family. And Samantha said, "Well, she alive. I don't have to come with you. Get her on the phone. Call her. FaceTime." He's like, he's not going to do it because he can't. I saw him shoot her in the back like the coward that he is. He's just mad because Elena fell in love with me. And Cardoza looked at him and he said, "I should have killed you first." Samantha looked at him with tears in her eyes saying, "You did kill her." And he said, "She deserved it." I said, "Whoa." And then he quickly bent down to pick up his gun to shoot her, but she pulled out her gun from behind her and shot him first. And that ended up being her second kill of the day. She killed her own father. But Robin always told her, always keep a spare. And I'm so glad she listened to Robin. And then Elijah walked over there to her and said, "I'm sorry you had to do that." So the episode ends with Robin talking to Samantha, asking how she's doing. And she's like, "In the last 24 hours, I found out that my biological father is a homicidal maniac. And the only parent I ever known has been lying to me all my life." So Elijah walks over and she's like, "I'm not sure I could talk to him." And Robin's like, "Just hear what he has to say. For better or for worse, he has devoted the last 25 years to keeping you safe." Now, I'll tell y'all, I don't know where they are filming this, but that freaking skyline, New York City skyline at nighttime with all the lights lit up is absolutely stunning. It's a beautiful scene. Look at it. Go back and look at it. Isn't it lovely? So anyway, Robin walks away and tells Elijah to just speak from his heart. And then he thanks her for taking care of Samantha when he couldn't. And he said, "I owe you." And she said, "We good." And he said, "Bishop was right about you. You're him in another place." So Elijah apologized to Samantha again, and he's like, "I don't know where to start." And she said, "Start at the beginning." And he started telling her everything, yada, yada. Then he pulls out a picture of her and her mother when she was a baby, and she's finally seeing her mother for the first time. And he said he was wrong for keeping that part from her, but he thought that was the best way to keep her safe. And he tells her she's finally free now. She could go wherever she want and do whatever she want because the threat is dead, which was her father. And he told Samantha he'll always be there for her. If she ever needs him, just whistle. I said, "Isn't that a scene in a movie?" She said they used to watch old movies together. So I'm having a feeling that that line is a scene in a movie that I'm familiar with, but I can't name it right now. If anybody knows the name of that movie, put it down in the comment section for me, please. Thank you. So Robin brings Sam back over to the bar. She wanted to thank Harry and Mel. She felt getting to know them and seeing what they have together gives her hope. And she's hoping that one day she'll find people like them in her life. So Mel said, "That's real sweet." And Harry said, "There's no need to find people like us. You have the real thing right here." I said, Harry always makes me laugh. And then Robin told her she's pretty impressive the way she handled herself today. And Samantha said, "Thanks. It felt good to put all that training to use." And so Robin looked at her, and that's when she made her pitch. She had Samantha come over there and she showed her what they do, and that there's so many she can't help them all. And she said, "Without help." And Samantha's looking at her and she's like, "I want you on my team." And Samantha said, "That would be amazing." She said, "But I think I want to go back to Atlanta because so many people there need help." And I told y'all they're going to try to do the spinoff from Atlanta. Maybe they'll use Tyler Perry Studios for the filming. I don't know. But I said, see, they keeping it a separate show. And so Robin said, "Well, if you need me, I'm here." And I'm like, wow. I said, I hope they don't make a spinoff of this. What was wrong with Robin doing it? Queen Latifah, unless Queen Latifah is getting tired of doing the show, I don't know. But this is not making any sense. If y'all been trying to mess up the Equalizer, what's this gonna be? Equalizer Atlanta? Atlanta Equalizer? Equalizer 2? I mean, what are we doing? But anyway, that's how it ended. But y'all don't forget what I'm saying. Hashtag save the equalizer. Hashtag save the equalizer. Remember to put that on all of your tags, on Twitter, on whatever you have to do, whatever social medias there is. What is it? X, whatever it's called. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Hashtag save the equalizer. It's your girl Barbie J saying, please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.